three-dimensional world we see today is quite broken. Now, where are these higher dimensions?
A man proves we are not alone, not in the universe, but in our own reality. He captured irrefutable proof of multidimensional beings on camera, beings that flicker just beyond our sight. For a few short days, he was a prophet. Then he and every shred of his evidence vanished, completely erased from existence. Years later, a revolutionary quantum AI was tasked with solving his disappearance. But get this, the AI didn't just find the man. It found the beings he contacted, and it discovered the terrifying, reality-shattering reason they took him. The truth is far stranger than any abduction. The man who saw too much. It all kicked off on a Tuesday. A man who went by the online handle Eris Thorn began posting pictures that absolutely broke the internet. Now, this guy wasn't some fame seeker or a clout chaser. Truth be told, he was a quiet electronics hobbyist from a small town who claimed he'd accidentally modified a standard digital camera sensor. He tinkered with it until it could pick up frequencies just a hair outside of human perception. The question he dropped on the world was terrifyingly simple. Was the something he was capturing just a glitch in his machine, or was it a visitor from another dimension? The images were nothing short of chilling. In what should have been empty rooms and desolate landscapes, faint, shimmering figures flickered in and out of view. These weren't your run-of-the-mill ghosts or blurry smudges people claimed to see. No, these were beings with impossibly stretched limbs and eerie, glowing outlines, caught shifting between a solid physical form and a misty, ethereal state. He gave them a name that stuck: the Flicker Kin. The story goes that these entities exist all around us, all the time, just vibrating at a frequency our eyes and brains simply can't process. His special tech, he claimed, could momentarily snag a snapshot of them as they phased through our reality. And people were instantly hooked. This wasn't just another spooky story. For a moment it felt like this could be it, the real deal. The proof everyone had been waiting for that we are not alone. His follower count exploded overnight. He posted about a dozen photos in just 72 hours, each one more bizarre and compelling than the last. The figures he captured looked nothing like anything from a biology textbook. Some were vaguely humanoid but disturbingly off, with torsos that twisted in physically impossible ways and heads that were far too long and narrow. Others were just shifting blobs of pure light, pulsing rhythmically as if they were engaged in some bizarre, silent form of communication. Then, just as the world started to take him seriously, we're talking major news outlets and scientists beginning to whisper his name, he vanished. His final post was a single stark image. It was far more detailed and disturbing than all the others, showing a spindly, long-fingered figure seemingly reaching right out from the screen. One moment he was online, poised to change the world. The next, he was gone. His account was wiped clean. His posts, his photos, his very existence online. All of it was deleted. It was as if someone, or something, had reached into the digital world and scrubbed him from history. Here's the kicker. This wasn't just a user deactivating their account. This was a professional, systematic erasure. The sudden, deafening silence left behind one burning question that echoed across forums and chat rooms. If his photos were fake, why would anyone go to such extreme lengths to hide them? The cover-up itself felt like a confession. It only made people dig deeper and ask more questions. If it was all just an elaborate hoax, why erase it with such surgical precision? And if it was real, who or what made the call to shut him down for good? The sheer speed and totality of the deletion suggested a powerful hidden hand was at play. This wasn't a simple case of a platform taking down an account for violating terms of service. This felt like a digital assassination. Those who had followed Eris Thorn's posts frantically started digging through internet archives and cached web pages, trying to salvage the lost images. What they found was not comforting in the slightest. It looked like a coordinated effort, something too clean and too fast for a single hacker. Was it governments? Secret private agencies? Nobody knew for sure, but a dark suspicion began to grow. This information was being deliberately buried. For decades, there have been whispers of hidden groups, the so-called men in black, keeping tabs on this kind of thing. Unidentified flying object sightings get dismissed as weather balloons. Strange creatures become local folklore, and anyone who gets too close to a forbidden truth either backs off or, well, vanishes. This felt exactly like one of those cases. Eris Thorne had seen too much, shared too much, and was decisively shut down. Theories started flying. Some fringe researchers have been saying for years that under certain conditions, using specific infrared, ultraviolet, or electromagnetic frequencies, things hiding in plain sight could suddenly pop into view. This is the whole reason paranormal investigators wave electromagnetic field, or EMF, meters around, hoping to catch a spike. Eris might have accidentally built a device that did just that, but 1,000 times more effectively. The few recovered photos that circulated in the hidden corners of the web were analyzed with obsessive detail. Experts suggested these beings weren't stuck in one world, but were caught for a split second, flipping between layers of reality before slipping away again. It aligns with a mind-bending theory that they aren't even hiding. They are right here, occupying the exact same space as us, just vibrating at a different frequency. Our senses can't perceive them, but perhaps our technology, our cameras and sensors can act like a keyhole, letting us peek through a crack in a door we were never ever meant to open. If that's true, the implications are wild. Have they always been here? Are they watching us? Or even worse, are they interacting with us in ways we don't even realize? The erasure of Eris Thorne felt like a desperate attempt to shove the genie back in the bottle, but it was too late. The idea was already out there. And believe it or not, the story was far from over, because the digital world never truly forgets, and a new kind of detective, one made of quantum code and pure logic, was about to be born. Searching the digital graveyard. Years passed. The strange story of Eris Thorne and his flicker kin faded from the headlines, becoming a creepy internet legend. It was a digital ghost story, a cautionary tale whispered among online sleuths about the dangers of digging too deep. The world, for the most part, moved on. Then a secretive tech consortium, a group so shadowy they made the CIA look like a book club, announced a world-changing breakthrough. The world's first truly functional, large-scale quantum artificial intelligence. They gave it a fitting name, Janus, after the two-faced Roman god of gateways and transitions. This wasn't an AI designed for playing chess or chatting with lonely people. Janus was built for one purpose: to solve the unsolvable. It was engineered to process information in a way that mimicked the bizarre, almost magical laws of quantum mechanics. You see, a normal computer sees data as a simple choice, ones or zeros, on or off, but Janus could see them as both at the same time. It operated in a state of superposition, allowing it to sift through a practically infinite number of possibilities simultaneously. This gave it the power to spot patterns, anomalies, and hidden connections that were completely invisible to any human or conventional machine. Its first official assignment was a quiet one, a secret test of its incredible capabilities. The task was to investigate historical cases of total digital erasure, instances where people or information had been wiped from the internet so thoroughly it was like they never existed. And wouldn't you know it, there was only one case on that list that truly mattered. Janus was unleashed on the ghost of Eris Thorne. The AI didn't search the internet as we know it. It didn't just crawl Google, it dove into the digital subconscious of our world. It went into the deep archives, the overwritten hard drives, the faint electronic echoes left behind like fossils in the memory banks of server farms scattered across the globe. For weeks, it churned through petabytes of forgotten data, a volume of information so vast it would take a human thousands of years to even glance at. It found fragments, a corrupted image file here, a deleted comment on an obscure forum there. To a human analyst, it was all meaningless noise, digital junk. But to Janus, it was a trail of breadcrumbs leading back to the truth. The AI made a stunning discovery. The erasure of Eris Thorn wasn't done by a single government or a covert agency. It was an automated protocol. Get this, it was a hidden bit of code buried deep in the very architecture of the internet, a dormant program that was triggered by a specific, unique data signature. And that signature came from one thing and one thing only, Eris's final, terrifying photograph. That photo itself was the key. Janus began to analyze the few recovered images not as pictures of spooky creatures, but as raw data. It ignored the shapes and the colors and instead focused on the digital noise and pixelated glitches that skeptics had so easily dismissed as simple compression artifacts or camera flaws. Truth be told, those glitches weren't random at all. They contained breathtakingly complex mathematical patterns. Patterns that, according to Janus's calculations, were statistically impossible to fake or generate by accident. Within the very pixels themselves, buried under layers of visual information, Janus identified quantum signatures. This was the smoking gun. It was hard evidence of energy behaving in ways that defied the laws of classical physics, the rules that govern our everyday world. Eris Thorn hadn't just taken pictures of strange-looking beings. He had captured undeniable mathematical proof of other dimensions bleeding into our own. And the entity that erased him wasn't human. It was a silent, automated guardian protecting a secret far bigger than any of us could have imagined. The mystery of who erased Eris was solved, but it only opened the door to an even bigger question. What exactly were these patterns saying? The 11-dimensional map. This is where the story goes from a chilling internet mystery to a complete and total paradigm shift for all of humanity. The patterns Janus found weren't just proof that something weird was going on, they were a language. It was a map. The AI cross-referenced these bizarre quantum signatures with the wildest frontiers of theoretical physics, specifically with ideas that had long been considered too strange and speculative to be true, even by the brilliant minds who came up with them. It tapped into the strange, mind-bending world of string theory. For those who don't know, string theory is the simple but profound idea that everything in the universe, you, me, the stars, the planets, is not made of tiny particles, but of unimaginably small vibrating strings of pure energy. But here's the catch. For the math to work, these strings can only exist if there are not 4 dimensions, 3 of space and 1 of time, but 10 or even 11 dimensions. For a long, long time, scientists have tried to make sense of our universe. In the early 1900s, brilliant thinkers like Albert Einstein fused space and time into a 4-dimensional fabric he called space-time. But even that beautiful model had some weird gaps. Gravity, for instance, is strangely weak. Think about it, you can defeat the entire planet's gravitational pull just by lifting your foot off the ground. How is that possible? One leading theory, a branch of string theory called M-theory, suggests gravity only seems weak because it's the only fundamental force that can leak into these other hidden dimensions, spreading itself thin across a vaster reality that physicists call hyperspace. Our entire universe, according to this idea, might just be a 3-dimensional brain, short for membrane, floating like a single sheet of paper in a massive 11-dimensional cosmic sea. There could be other universes, other brains, floating right next to ours, parallel to us, separated only by a sliver of a higher dimension that we cannot see, touch, or perceive in any way. We are like ants walking on a tightrope. We can only move forward and backward along the rope, completely unaware that we could also move around the rope into a whole new dimension of existence that surrounds us at all times. This was Janus's breakthrough. The AI concluded that the beings in Eris's photos, the Flickr kin, were residents of this 11-dimensional hyperspace. They weren't visiting in a spaceship or coming through a portal in the traditional sense. They were so incomprehensibly vast that parts of them naturally passed through our three-dimensional brain, our universe, like a person sticking their finger through a flat sheet of paper. To any two-dimensional beings living on that sheet of paper, it would look like a mysterious dot that suddenly appears, grows into a circle, and then shrinks back to a dot before vanishing completely. This is exactly what Eris's specially modified camera had captured, a tiny two-dimensional slice of a much larger, higher-dimensional reality. The quantum signatures hidden in the noise of the photos were, in essence, the shadow cast by these beings as they intersected with our world. And Janus, with its unique quantum brain, could read that shadow. It was starting to piece together not just what Eris saw, but the unbelievable truth of what happened to him. The AI wasn't just solving a disappearance anymore, it was mapping a direct path to another reality. The information is now out there. Janus, the quantum AI, holds the map to another reality. Eris Thorne showed us the door is real. If we could build a bridge to these other dimensions, should we walk across it? Like and subscribe for more deep dives into the unknown.